we are committing to you, the people of Castara, and to the people of Tobago, because we are so heavily dependent on
Good evening, Red Army. Come on, brothers and sisters of the People's National Movement. We are in Castara today, and I want to hear you. Good evening, Red Army. Wonderful. We want to apologize for our late start, but we will get started now. And brothers and sisters, I want to invite you for the singing of the national now. And brothers and sisters, I want to invite you for the singing of the national anthem, after which Mr. Carl McEwen will deliver the invocation. So please stand.
Loving Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We thank thee, Lord, for the privilege you have afforded us this evening, whereby we can call your name unmolested. As we are about to listen to the projections, the plans, and what have been done before, as it's been rolled out to the island, to the nation, and to the development of our people, we ask that your divine presence grace to those individuals, our members, who have to deliver. Help them to be focused in their delivery. I pray, God, that all the listeners, even in our presence, those online, would listen and accept and understand what have been taking place within the last 10 years. May your presence continue to be with us. And even as we continue to be blessed by your presence in granting us traveling mercies, Father, we give thee praise and thanks. We glorify your name, that whatever may be said and done here tonight, Father, at the end thereof, someone would know that we have a wonderful Savior. Continue to guide us into all truth, we pray. In Jesus' name with thanksgiving, amen.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. I feel like we need to heat up this place in Castara this evening. Mr. DJ, play some music, please.
From the mountaintop to the valley low, everywhere we go, country before party. PNM, we working together, we building together, and we'll make it better. PNM, side by side, together, we standing together for our nation's future. This is a movement, we all in together, not just so one. My sister, my brother, man is it in your hand. PNM is the plan, ready, hold it steady. PNM, we all in.
Castara, the People's National Movement is here. A pleasant good evening to one and all. It is with distinct humility, delight, and pleasure that I stand here before you as your master of ceremonies. So before we get into this afternoon's or this evening's program, permit me to recognize some persons on our head table. And first, I want to recognize the political leader of the People's National Movement Tobago Council and former Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, the Honorable Ansel Dennis. Put your hands together. I also want to recognize this evening our candidate for Tobago East and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for Tobago, Gender and Child Affairs, who will be returning as our Member of Parliament come April 28th, the Honorable Ayana Webster Roy. I also want to recognize in our midst our minority leader and a representative for Darrell Spring Wim. One is enough, Assemblyman Kelvon Morris. I also want to recognize in our midst our youth speaker, the vibrant, the beautiful Denisha Manning. Executive members of the PNM Tobago Council, executive members of East and West constituency, brothers and sisters of the People's National Movement, Castara, Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, a pleasant good evening to one and all. Good evening, Castara. We are here in the heart of one of Tobago's most breathtaking, proud and powerful communities, a village rich in heritage, culture, and resilience. So, brothers and sisters, the PNM is here to continue its gospel, to continue sharing facts and bringing truth to you, the people. So, to kick us off this evening, I want to bring to you a powerful youth speaker, and we know from this People's National Movement platform, our youth speakers has been blazing the trail and has been making us proud. So brothers and sisters of Castara, put your hands together and welcome the youth speaker for this evening, the young, the brilliant, the vibrant Miss Denisha Manning. We can do better than that. Put your hands together and warmly welcome Miss Denisha Manning.
PNM family, good evening. PNM family, good evening. Oh, they're a little too quiet for me. PNM family, good evening. Allow me to recognize our distinguished head table, political leader of the PNM Tobago Council, Mr. Ansel Dennis, our young, vibrant, dedicated Tobago East candidate, Mrs. Ayana Webster Roy, our one is enough fighter, our minority leader, Mr. Kelvon Morris, and to my beautiful PNM family, good evening. Tonight, I stand here with purpose. I stand here with a mission. To let it be known to our young people that we have it. We have it on our side. We have strength on our side. We have resilience, representation, integrity, and great leadership on our side. Brothers and sisters, let me draw an analogy for a second. Have you ever seen a duck gliding across the pond with such grace, such elegance, such calmness? But what we don't see is the hard work that the duck puts in. The amount of strength it takes to swim through the waters, the amount of stamina it takes to get from one side to the other. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been witnessing strength, resilience, and hard work for the past 9 years by our Tobago East candidate, Mrs. Ayana Webster Roy. She looks cool, calm, and collective, but when you see she start to work, She giving you the work. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Tobago East candidates. I woke up this morning grateful as ever as I do, thanking God for what I have. And furthermore, what the PNM government has done for me, for our young people. A little over 2 decades ago, I began my development journey. I began my development journey as a student at the Mount St. George Early Childhood Center. Then I went to Hope Anglican School. Then I went to the Prestige Bishop's High School. Then I went straight to university. And I have not paid a pretty penny from then. Brothers and sisters, imagine trying to send your child to school and you're thinking about where the money coming from to send your child to school. Imagine the government, the PNM-led government has given us and maintained this promise to send our children to school and for not paying a pretty penny. And imagine walking in to a hospital and walking out and not paying a pretty penny either. The PNM government has given us that over the years. And you see, brothers and sisters, the PNM government doesn't know about recommissioning, about painting something and calling it new and say, hey, take that. We know about building something from scratch, from the ground up. From the Roxborough Hospital, the ground up. From the Roxborough Fire Station, the ground up. From the Roxborough Hospital, the ground up. From the Sherburne Police Station, the ground up. From the brand spanking new airport, from the ground up. Foundation, a strong foundation that sets us up as Tobagonians for better lives, better communities, a better economy, and a brighter future. We don't have time for propaganda, and don't let them throw that heavy anchor on your lap. It's holding your back. When they throw it on you, you're trying to stagger. You can't even walk forward, you're walking backward. But tell them you have to put down the anchor and pick up the balize. Don't let them fool you. Trying to make ends meet, and they're ignoring you, they're ignoring your calls. And when you call Ansel, Hide. When you call Ayana, Shide. When you call Kelvin, Hide. The People's National Movement is always there for us. Young people, think about your development. Think about the kind of leaders that you want to represent you. Think about the People's National Movement. The track record speaks for itself. Don't let the AI profiles and the memes fool you. Don't let the temporary feelings that you have hold you back, and don't let it determine your future. We are tired of being scrutinized, victimized, bullied, and silenced. It is time to stand up for ourselves and make the right choice. And you know, when people see me, they say, yeah, she look like a PNM. She really look like a PNM. I say, yeah, hear what I say now? Yeah, I look like a PNM. Because when you see me, you see integrity. You see character. You see passion. You see fight. When you see the People's National Movement, you see integrity, character, passion, and fight. When you see Ayana, you see character, integrity, passion, and fight. When you see Shampa, you see integrity, character, passion, and fight. Brothers and sisters, it is time to strap up your boots and exercise your right to vote. This is not for me or for you. It is for all of us. We have to count on ourselves to put the right people in places to represent us. We have to let the sailors know we're not fighting the sharks. We're fighting for our future. We have to let them know that we have experienced, dedicated, driven, hardworking, strong women like Ayanna Webster Roy and Shampa Kojo Lewis to get the job done. And young people, all they could jump up and wind down low as all they want. But you see, when April 28 come, all they better go out there and vote. Our younger sisters, brothers, cousins, and future generations are counting on us. Let us set an example of what real representation is. Let us come together and vote the People's National Movement like your lives depend on it. Vote Ayanna Webster Roy in the East like your lives depended on it. Vote Shampa Kojo Lewis like your life depended on it. Vote the People's National Movement like your life depended on it. And as PNM, great is the PNM, great is the People's National Movement, and we have prevailed. Thank you.
Come on, brothers and sisters, we can do better than that. Tell them to put down the anchor and pick up the balize. When you see PNM, you see integrity, you see character, you see passion, and you see fight. Put your hands together again for our youth speaker. So, brothers and sisters, as we continue on with the program, I want to invite to the lectern a man who has been bringing the fight to Farley and friends in the Tobago House of Assembly. A man who has been exposing the lies and deception of this Farley-led Tobago House of Assembly. A man who is bold, a man who is brave, a man who stands up for integrity. Brothers and sisters of the People's National Movement, put your hands together as I welcome to the lectern the minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly, the air representative for Darrell Spring Wim. Brothers and sisters of the People's National Movement, put your hands together and welcome Assemblyman Kelvon Morris.
PNM, 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 PNM,
PNM people, Castara people, how we feeling? Good night. Brothers and sisters, please permit me to recognize our political leader of the Tobago Council, Brother Ansel Dennis. Allow me to recognize, as I said the other night, the diligent, the efficient, the honest, the hard-working, dedicated, our current Member of Parliament for Tobago East, and with your votes, our returning Member of Parliament for Tobago East.
What? This hour?
Webster Roy. And, you know, every time we hear our young people speak, coming from this PNM platform, I have people calling me from Trinidad and overseas and saying to me how proud they are of our youth speakers. And tonight, we heard the brilliance of young Denisha Manning. And allow me to recognize in our midst a special Castara girl, my colleague, my hard-working counselor, Petal Daniel Benoit. In our midst, we have with us tonight former Assistant Secretary and Area Representative for Bethel Mount Irving at the time, Brother Handel Beckles. All executive members of the People's National Movement, PNM members, PNM well-wishers, PNM family, one and all. good night. It is always a pleasure to be in this very scenic village of Castara. You know, and my one regret tonight is that I came in here very late, because one of the things I look forward to when coming to Castara is getting the full view of the ocean as you come down, you make your descent, and it's so therapeutic. In fact, Castara, if I had a chance to really choose somewhere to live, and if you have available lands, then perhaps Castara would be that place. Brothers and sisters, as I stand before you here tonight, I am here with one message in mind, and it is something I recall from the former Prime Minister's final interview. And I remember when a question was asked to him, and in his reply, he said, character matters. And I want us to give that some thought tonight. Character matters. I want you to think about your Member of Parliament for Tobago East, Mrs. Ayanna Webster-Roy, and your Member of Parliament for Tobago West, Mrs. Shamfa Ashaki Kujo-Lewis. And we would have entrusted those two young women with the responsibility of representing us, the people of Tobago. And, you know, your representative really reflects the moral fabric of who you are as a people. And I, for one, could say without a shadow of a doubt, the way that Ayanna and Shamfa have represented us in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, I, as a Tobagonian, I am extremely proud. Integrity matters. Honesty matters. Dedication matters, because we take it for granted. Here it is, your representative with a family, also a minister of a ministry in the office of the Prime Minister. Also your representative having to be back and forth in Trinidad, also maintaining a presence here with you, also having to cater and care for her family. And through it all, she has withstood the test of time and delivered. Because when you think about the kind of delivery that have come to the people of the Far East through the representation of Ayanna Webster-Roy, I am saying in my time, I have not seen a representative from Tobago East deliver to the people of Tobago East as Ayanna Webster-Roy delivered to you. Because you see, I married a wife from the East, so Roxborough girl, and I started to court around 2011. So therefore, when I was coming to Roxborough, the drive I make to Roxborough then is a completely drive now. Because in 2011, there was no administrative complex. But by the time we elected Ayanna Webster-Roy, and she started to work, we had an administrative complex. I remember at the time, the Roxborough fire station was basically run down, and they had to go into Argyle at one point and by the waterfall there. And then under Ayanna Webster-Roy's representation, we had a brand new fire station. And I remember, well, I think it's Police Station Road. There was a little police station somewhere around there in that little alley. But with the representation at the top, right? Yes, yeah. You know, sometimes you have to pass to the back and come up now. Yeah. But by the time 2010 was completed, your representative, Mrs. Ayanna Webster, 15, right? 20 to 2020, we got a brand new police station. And to top it off, I remember when Ayana first gave, I think, one of her early speech, she spoke passionately about the women of the East having to travel from far east to get to Scarborough to make sure they can have a safe delivery. And I remember she giving a story about, one of those times where incidents where person had to actually deliver children on their way. And she made a commitment that under her representation, that will be a thing of the past. And tonight, I live to see that under Ayana's representation, the people of the Far East have a brand new state-of-the-art hospital. And if that is not representation, I do not know what is. And if that is not a term that deserves another, I do not know what else qualifies. So, brothers and sisters of Tobago East, as I said the other evening, you have a very easy choice. Because when you do the analysis, and when you look at the kind of delivery of Ayana Webster-Roy, you don't even have to look at the rest. Because they say, when you have a good thing, you need nothing else. So, brothers and sisters, tonight, we have an alternative, though, that have a track record here. And I, as your minority leader, along with our political leader, and along with members, Councillor Benoit and others, we have been fighting the good fight, bringing to you the issues. And tonight, I would share with you one issue I want to touch on that perhaps we should consider if we really believe that we want to consider whether this administration is performing. Because here it is. We have an administration that after 3.5 years, $10 billion. And the question I simply want to ask you, the people of Castara, tonight, as you walk your community, have you seen anything in your community for that 3.5 years that looks like $10 billion? And we, in 2021, we had the known PNM and the unknown PDP. But fortunately for us, in 2025, we have the known PNM and we have the known TPP. So they have a record. And I'll bring to you one issue that you can make a comparison. Just 2015, just about when we elected Ayana Webster-Roy to office, your PNM administration, at that time we had our ambulances. We had ambulances that did its time and needed to be replaced. And therefore, under the stewardship of Claudia Groom-Duke, and I worked at the Division of Health at that time as an executive officer, we procured ambulances. And when we procured those ambulances, 10 brand new Ford state-of-the-art ambulances, well-known brand. Everybody knows Ford as a reputable brand, American brand. You know how much we paid for those 10 ambulances? Those 10 ambulances cost $5.3 million. I want to go over that again. 10 ambulances, $5.3 million. So one unit cost $530,000. Follow me good, right? Your known TPP decided about 1.5 years ago that they also wanted to upgrade the fleet. So they indicated that they were down to about 3 ambulances and they needed to purchase new ambulances. of course, Petal and I would continue asking them, what is the status of the ambulance? Because they told us they were going out, and they keep telling us the ambulance is coming, it's coming. In the meantime, they were leasing 3 ambulances, paying almost $300,000 a month. So I want you to also consider, we purchased 1 ambulance for $530,000. They were leasing ambulances monthly for $300,000 a month.
What?
So from December to present, we asked recently, what is the total value of the lease you have paid for those ambulances? To my amazement, over the last period from December to now, they have spent $6 million on leasing ambulances. So understand this. In 2015, your PNM paid $5.3 million for 10 brand new ambulances that we owned. Ford brand, reputable brand. And for 1 year, this administration leased 3 ambulances for $6 million. So you understand you understand that our issue, whereas you could always want more money, our issue is not so much a money issue, but it is a management issue. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. Because remember I tell you, they still have a purchase arrangement in place. So brothers and sisters, we asked recently about that purchase arrangement. And of course, we were told that 4 ambulances were about to land in Tobago. We asked how much, because they said they purchased 12 ambulances, costing you, how much the 12 ambulance costing you? $16.2 million. That is an average cost originally, so the original cost to bring it in was $1.2 million. And when we asked them, so where you get these ambulances from? They used, so the PNM went directly to the manufacturer of Ford. So the PNM took your money prudently, went to the manufacturer of Ford, purchased directly from Ford, so no middleman to eat a food. However, this administration decided they had a middleman they wanted to eat a food. So went out, find this middleman. When we asked them what is the process, the secretary up to this day cannot tell us whether there was a procurement process, if it was sole select, competitive. All we know, they found a middleman. And this middleman went to India and found an ambulance, a brand called Force.
What?
So we moved from Ford to Force.
What?
And like they tried to force this ambulance on me. And this no-name brand, as you could recall, came to Tobago, 4 of them. And from the time I just saw the ambulances, and I knew from just looking at it, it was not fit for purpose. It reminded me of them long time Maxi that used to come here and carry to football. And only when the pictures start coming in, I am being told by the EHS people, you know this vehicle one. So before we had the Ford vehicles were automatic transmission, because you know you have to maneuver the terrain of Charlottesville, Big Bend, coming up all those places, Long Bend and all those places. So automatic vehicles are recommended as the more ideal to maneuver those terrain. However, for these ambulances, I am being told manual. Well, it gets worse. when it came, I don't know if they thought because we're in a tropical country we didn't need to use AC. But no AC. You know them long time car where you saw the little fan? The 120 Y&M? That your 1 point. So you purchase a Ford ambulance with automatic transmission, AC down, no problem. So if you have a vehicle where you have you don't think the natural thing will be that you'll just go back and buy their new version? No, they bypassed Ford and went to Force. So Force, no AC. Manual. What? Then they barely had any space to rest. If you see, the ambulance now came with, normally the ambulance have a requirement, you have to have a side kind of access, a side door and a back. Came with no side. So they had to actually pay to customize, to cut out and create. They cut out their own side and create now and create a side. So it came with no side. More money. But it doesn't, so even when it came to Tobago, they had to carry it back because when we started to point out all the flaws, you know, when we asked the question again, because we heard it was coming back. So we asked the secretary, so since you did all these customization, what is the new cost of these ambulances? So remember it was 1.2 per unit, which was 3 times more what we paid for. So you could get 3 ambulances with that one. To customize for their dotishness of not bringing ambulances as per the proper specs that is required, they had to pay another $250,000. So it ramped up to almost $1.5 million for one ambulance. And these are the people coming to you, my brothers and sisters, telling you, give me a chance, let me go to Trinidad, put away the good representation of Ayana and Shamfa, and give us the opportunity to go to Trinidad when you can't even bring in an ambulance that is fit for purpose. And you know what is the hurtful part for me? Is that after all is said and done, we still don't have the use of the ambulances. Because I am being told by EHS personnel that even after they've fit and retrofit, it is still not fit for purpose.
What?
And that is even after commissioning 3. Have you seen those 3 anywhere on the road? And for us who in the north, Castara and these areas that have your little streets, do you think those ambulances could get in those little alleys? 20 feet long. How they turn in? This is a scandal. This is a shame. And if we wanted any reason to know that these people are not fit for governance, this procurement of these ambulances should definitely tell us that they ain't ready. So while they tell you they have no money, while they tell you they like to blame the central government, well, just know the central government had no part in them bringing in these ambulances, these ambulances that they force on Tobagonians. But I want to talk to you briefly regarding the opportunities here for the people of Castara. I would advise every Tobagonian, because it is a matter we will treat with in the coming months. And we are following up on it. I did a Google search of these ambulances. And to my amazement, these ambulance in its purest form is about 54,000 US.
What?
I want to go over that again for you. If you Google that force ambulance that was brought to Tobago, after you do the conversion from the Indian currency to US, it works out to about 54,000 US. I get it right, political leader? Well, and I am overestimating. So and I just want to do the maths. Let me convert it to by 7. We have people doing the maths already, man. I've been told $378,000 for one. Yet your THA, under Faithless Faith, is paying $1.5 million.
What?
For an ambulance that is purchased at $378,000. And as I stand here before you, I am calling for an independent audit, independent investigation into the procurement of those 12 ambulances that is costing an alarming sum. When you do the investigation, the value of the ambulance is less than $500,000.
Sisters,
Yet, the people of Tobago, we are paying $1.5 million, 3 times the value of what the ambulance actually costs. If that is not highway robbery, I don't know what is. And brothers and sisters, this is why I now have to walk around with bodyguards. Because we bring the truth, we bring the facts, and when they can't take it, they start to threaten. But I will not cower, I will not be afraid, because as long as God gives me life, I will continue to do the work of the people of Tobago, along with Ayanna Webster-Roy in Tobago East, Shamfa Kujo Lewis in Tobago West, our political leader, Brother Ansel Dennis, and we will lead the charge in rescuing Tobago. And just remember, as we rescue Tobago, and remember this election is about electing persons who can be part of a cabinet, that can be part of a government, that can be part of a responsible administration. When we do that, vote Ayanna in Tobago East and vote Shamfa in Tobago West, and we get the victory. We'll all sing and shout, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM. I thank you.
Brothers and sisters, put your hands together again for the minority leader. He's not afraid to challenge the status quo. He speaks the truth. He brings the facts, and he stands tall for the people every single day. So put your hands together again for the minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly. Brothers and sisters, he reminded us that Ayanna Webster-Roy in Tobago East has delivered. He spoke to character, and character matters. Integrity matters, honesty matters, dedication matters. He also reminded us that there are persons coming to us to seek our votes, and they will say that they are coming to fight for Tobago. But these are the same people. Manage a simple procurement of ambulances. They have deliberately brought the Tobago's economy to its knees, brothers and sisters. They destroyed, they mash up every sector, every single sector in Tobago, from tourism, construction, health, agriculture, you named it, they have destroyed it. So brothers and sisters, compare that to a track record of delivery, a track record of performance, a track record of being there with you through thick and thin from 2015 to 2025. So brothers and sisters, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. The People's National Movement and Ayanna Webster Roy in Tobago East is the only choice. And with that said, brothers and sisters, I want to bring on the lady of the moment. She is a woman of purpose, power, and proven performance. From the parliament to the pavement, she has remained grounded in the needs of the people. From the hills of Roxborough to the communities in Bennell Garden, Mason Hall, Lansford, Calder Hall, Castara, and beyond, you named it, she has walked with you, fought for you, and delivered for you. She is the people's servant, the voice of the voiceless, the one who has turned promises into action, and we see it each and every day when we traverse the East. She is not just a minister. She is a mother, a mentor, a fighter, and she is the PNM candidate for Tobago East. Brothers and sisters of Castara, make some noise for the next member of parliament who will return for a third consecutive term. The unstoppable, the inspiring, the unwavering, Mrs. Ayanna Webster Roy. Put your hands together and welcome her brothers and sisters.
Sleeping time. I was in the Lacqueray when somebody showed me him. Somebody said that I'm not today because we didn't tell them.
Good evening, Castara. Good evening, PNM people. Good evening, Red Brigade. Good evening, Red Army. It is such a pleasure to be here with you all this evening. Permit me to recognize political leader Ansel Dennis, our minority leader. One is enough, Mr. Kelvin Morris. Our minority councillor supporting our well-able minority leader, Mrs. Petal Daniel Benoit, a daughter of your community. Our youth speaker, Ms. Denisha, I am so proud of you. From your journey in the parliament, from your journey in the training for women political leaders, future women political leaders, I am so proud of you, my Mountain George Tobago East young lady. Congratulations, Denisha. I also want to recognize with us here today our former Assemblyman, Mr. Beckles. You could stand, let them acknowledge you. And all of you beautiful PNM people, I have a story to tell because I have been so much on the ground. I have been so present. I have been so with you so often that people tend to forget. You know when you get something so much and so often that you take it for granted? So while I've been walking the communities as we go through this campaign period, people saying, but I didn't see you. And I could remind people when I saw them, when I interacted with them, when I was in the gallery talking to them, when I was walking along the streets listening to their cries. And through all the years from 2015 to now, one of the things I proudly say is I never left the ground. And brothers and sisters of Castara and Tobago East, the fact that I never left the ground, I know the ground going to carry it right through to the 28th of April. And the ground going to carry it right through to the 29th when I am declared and I'm getting ready, getting prepared for another swearing-in ceremony. Brothers and sisters of Castara, I stood with you. I stood in the gap for you. I was always accessible to you. Every phone call, every WhatsApp message, every buff when I walk the communities, I stood with you and for you. Constantly listening, constantly advocating, and constantly delivering for you, the people of Castara, and you, the people of Tobago East. I remember we had some challenges with the PTSD bus service for Castara and Bloody Bay and Lansome for a while. And advocating, I would get the phone calls. I would get the phone calls, especially from Ms. Gracelyn, and she would say, Ayana, the bus ain't working properly. And when we walk Castara, when we walk Lansome, and when we walk Bloody Bay as a team, and I want to big up my constituency office team. Because every single walk, every single journey, every single challenge, you all were there with me. So you would know of all the cause and the concerns. And I remember constantly reaching out to PTSC and advocating, reaching out to the board, reaching out to the managers at PTSC. And you know what was the real hurtful thing, Castara? When they start to see improvement, you know they didn't give Ayana credit. They give every Tom, Dick, Harry, and a dog credit for bringing the services back. Besides the MP, who took your calls, who took your WhatsApp, who took the cussing. But you know what? That didn't stop me from continuing to advocate. Because as your member of parliament, I understand that even though you may forget, it's my duty, even with the forgetfulness, to still work on your behalf, to still deliver for you, to still stand in the gap on behalf of the people of Tobago East, because I too am a daughter of this constituency. I ain't come here, I'm born here. I'm born in Tobago East. And it is right here that I'm raising a family, right in this constituency, right in Tobago East, I'm raising 3 children. Brothers and sisters, the advocacy work saw PTSC collaborating with maxi taxi owners in Tobago, and a maxi taxi concessionaire service was established to ensure that residents of Mariah, Mason, especially those of you living in Bloody Bay and Lansome and Castara, that you will get a better access to public transport and a better quality of service. And I felt proud on the day when I stood in the hall of the Palliative Community Center and we had a formal ceremony to mark this beautiful arrangement. Because on that day, my friend, my fellow constituent of Tobago East, Gracelyn, got up and she said, we had some troubling time, but we are seeing a better day. And I felt proud. I felt proud when she gave her testimony. I felt really proud because my advocacy work paid off. Brothers and sisters, I want to talk about what we did for you in terms of improving your access to quality water and a regular supply of water for the persons of this part of Tobago East. And we saw the construction of the Pine Hill Booster Station. When that booster station was commissioned, I could not attend because I had prior engagements in Trinidad in my capacity as minister with responsibility for gender and child affairs. And I remember my sister in service, Shamfa Kujo, attending some of the commissioning ceremonies. And she said to me, she said, I didn't get to go to the one in Pine Hill, but I got the opportunity to go to the one in Hope. And she said, Ayana, one of your constituents cried tears of joy because for the first time, she was able to just turn on a tap and water flowed. But coming to Pine Hill, I remember the manager of WASA telling me, he said, we got a beautiful testimony from a young lady living in Palliative. And that young lady said she was so grateful for the booster station in Pine Hill because now she was able to wash without fear, do her preparatory works for her children without fear because water was flowing through her taps. And because of that booster station, 100 residents of Pine Hill, of Palliative, 100 residents are benefiting from an improved water supply. I know, because one thing I don't ever do is fool my constituents. I like to keep it real. One of the things I said, whenever I step away from this life, I want to be known for someone who gave real representation with real results. So I've always made it my duty to tell you the truth. I know for the past few days, residents of Castara would have been having some challenges with your water supply. And I want to assure you that I have reached out to the manager of WASA in Tobago, and I have been advocating on your behalf. And if by the end of the week things can improve, I'm going in Trinidad and complain to my minister colleague. Because let me tell you one thing. If I talk at a certain level and things don't work out, you could ask my former boss. You could ask my former prime minister. I will take it from level to level to level. I don't like to set up people. I will talk from the bottom, and if I ain't getting results, I keep going higher and higher until my constituents benefit. Because that is why you elected me. You elected me to advocate on your behalf. So Castara people, if by the end of the week or your business ain't fixed, call me. Text me, message me. Everybody get me number. It's the same number from since I work in community development, 7784412. I want to talk about some of this assistance we gave through central government again, through self-help and NGO within this community, within the Bloody Bay, Castara, Lansamy community, wanting to do work to help vulnerable persons in this area, in this part of Tobago East. I remember the individual coming, trying to get access to support through self-help. And I felt really proud as your member of parliament when self-help, that agency, which is headed by my colleague, my sister in service, Minister Shampa Kujwa-Lewis, was able to give a grant to the Family on Focus evangelistic ministries to help them to acquire the material to do the work on their facility so that they could serve the people of this part of Tobago East. That is your central government and your MP advocating for you. I assisted students of Palatavere Anglican Primary School with Wi-Fi boxes. I remember during COVID and during the online learning period, when we got some tablets and laptops and we distributed them to the schools. And I remember visiting Palatavere and the principal saying to me, we are thankful for the devices, but unfortunately, some of them don't even have the Wi-Fi. And I remember I reached out to Be Mobile and I said, I will pay for the boxes and I will pay for the first month if you partner with me so that the students will be able to get it for the period. And it didn't hurt me because I'm a mother. It didn't hurt me because I'm a mother who had children going through the same thing. It didn't hurt me to take the money out of my pocket and pay for those boxes to benefit the children of the community so that they would be able to get the Wi-Fi to do their online learning. Brothers and sisters, I have represented you as a member of parliament. I remember meeting right here, I think it was right here, with the residents of Lansamy, and the residents of Lansamy raising the issue of the street lights not being functional for quite a while. And I remember giving them the commitment that I would reach out to a friend at Tech, because one of the things I've tried to do over the years is to build meaningful collaborative partnerships and relationships, because trust me, you can't do it alone. You can't represent alone. You have to build friendships. You have to find allies. You have to find people willing to work with you. And I felt really proud. Senator Hislop, as the chairman for Tobago East, could attest to this, that the report came in and then they called back the chairman for Tobago East constituency to say that they were happy to know that all the street lights were fixed. I did the advocacy work. I remember again, as your member of parliament, understanding how important it is to build women throughout Tobago East, understanding how important it is for women to network, to learn from each other, to help build each other up, because we understand if you empower a woman, you just don't empower an individual, you empower a society. We are the ones who rock the cradle. We are the ones who nurture the future generations. I brought chai and chat right to this community. I told my staff, and they're here, I told them we will go to Castara. We will make sure that we create the opportunity for the women of Castara and Palatavere and Lansamy to come together, to fellowship together, so that we could understand the challenges we face as women and help each other to cope better, so that we could become better mothers, better wives, better business owners, better entrepreneurs, better individuals all around. And we did that. We brought chai and chat here to this beautiful community. I remember again looking at all the issues in communities such as Bloody Bay with water, and trust me, there's get plenty issues because it has get equals. The water issue has been a challenge, and advocating and reaching out to my colleague in the Ministry of Public Utilities then, and getting the agreement to continue to work across Tobago and across Tobago East to improve water supply. I remember Shamfa, my very, very dear sister in service, we were having a conversation after cabinet, post-cabinet one Thursday. And one of our colleagues from Trinidad said to us, how it is that oil is so lucky. Everything oil so want, oil gets in. Everything, every time they hear anything come up for public utilities and water is Tobago, 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 Tobago. And we simply said, Tobago will get what Tobago wants. And that was just the fact. Because we have used our voices to advocate around the table. We have used our voices to build the relationships and the partnership. But beyond that, we had colleagues who were willing to support our vision for a better Tobago. So there was a national development. We weren't playing Dolly House in Trinidad. When people talking about send down 2 girls down there, we weren't playing Dolly House. We were well-educated, competent young ladies who went to Trinidad to put down serious work. And as my sister in service said today at the grand distribution ceremony, we just tell people, take it easy. Ayana and Shamfa will always do the work. Brothers and sisters of Castara, since COVID, approximately 100 SCA students from the school in Lansamy, Castara, and Paladivere were recipients of the Chair Package. The Chair Package is an initiative I started during COVID when I recognized that children were struggling. And that first year I said, when the child leaves the SCA classroom, he or she must have something to look forward to, something to just cheer them up, because I understood from my training in psychology that this was a very turbulent period, and we started the Chair Package initiative. We have not stopped since then. Even this week, we started distributing to every school in Tobago East. And come the day of SCA, at the end of the exam, every single boy or girl in a school in Tobago East writing the SCA would walk away from that exam with their Chair Package. That is your MP working for all of Tobago East. Brothers and sisters, people have been asking, what PNM central government do for us? Well, I could understand they asking what the MP did for us, because you have to ask the MP that. You have to ask us that because every 5 years it's like a performance appraisal. Every 5 years we go through the process of being appraised by you, and then you will give us a renewed mandate. And I want to thank you all in advance because I'm confident that I will remain your member of parliament. You see, when you do the work, you have no problem with being appraised. So thank you in advance. But they have been asking, what did the PNM central government do for us? I remember in my first term, when there was a lot of crying Tobago about us not being able to get goods from Trinidad on time, persons not being able to move between the two islands properly. And I remember a cabinet under Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, supported by every member of the cabinet. The decision was taken to purchase 2 brand new ferries for the Sea Bridge. We didn't say we got fix one, buy a second-hand one. The decision was taken to invest in 2 brand new ferries for the people of Tobago. And I remember in Parliament when we were going through the budget debate at that time and getting persons on the opposition bench complaining about the amount of money that was going to Tobago and whatever. And I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand why my brothers and sisters on the other side of the borders would want to deny the people of Tobago the opportunity to travel freely between both islands, because I understand and I strongly believe that a stronger, stable Tobago is a stronger, stable Trinidad and Tobago. We are the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. If one island is thriving, the other would thrive. If one island is falling behind, both of us, the whole nation would fall behind. So I couldn't understand. But you know what? We didn't let them deter us. We purchased those ferries. And let me tell you something. Or you think it's easy to be jumping on a plane almost every other day between Trinidad and Tobago? I remember there was a time when I couldn't determine if, when I reached on the airport, if I would get to Trinidad on time or if I had to go back home, because there was a period when, as we say, the plane and them used to break down. Oh, you remember that? Yes. I remember one time when we we had to land and was the fire trucks and the ambulances around the plane because of some issue. I've been through it on your behalf. I've faced it on your behalf. And I remember Cabinet discussing how can we improve the air bridge? How can we ensure that persons who need to traverse between Trinidad and Tobago, who can't take the ferry, that they have a better journey? And the investment was made by Caribbean Airlines. I remember them coming to Cabinet to do a presentation to us. And I remember them talking about the costs and benefits and profits and whatever. And I remember your Tobago East MP, your Tobago West MP, and our Tobago East former Prime Minister saying to them, profit or no profit, we're making sure we get the ATRs for the air bridge to fix the people at Tobago. And we acquired a new fleet to service the air bridge. We acquired a new fleet. It's not perfect, but we started the work. It's not perfect, but we got new aircrafts for the air bridge between Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, and they're still asking, what central government do for us? What PNM central government do for the people at Tobago? Let me go again. Through the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service, almost about 100 million, I don't want to tell a lie, but a good bit of money was spent recently to help business owners in Tobago through Netco. I remember going to the grant distribution ceremony and seeing a number of young Tobagoans who were beneficiaries of the grant under Netco. Netco is not a THA initiative. Netco is coming out of the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. Again, another visionary ministry of your PNM central government. It's our administration. It is during my time, our time, that a Ministry of Youth Development and National Service was established. And beyond that, through the training programs being developed by that ministry and implemented nationally, there are young constituents who are benefiting. I remember a young mother reaching out to me that her son wanted to participate in one of the training programs. At that time, it was the Linesman training program, but they weren't offering it in Tobago. When I reached out to my colleague minister, the Minister of Youth Development and National Service, and let me big up Minister Foster Cummins in next, the incoming again MP for his constituency. He said to me, he said, Ayana, no problem. We will ensure that that constituent is facilitated. And that young man got the opportunity to go to Trinidad. He got his stipend, he got someplace to stay, and he got his certification. That is representation. That is your central government ensuring that our people in Tobago benefit from the national pie. And I want to talk about our contributions to the vulnerable in Tobago, and specifically the work that is being done through the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. Today, I had the great pleasure of witnessing a grant distribution ceremony. 60 families, and my brother Kelvin was there. 60 families in Tobago received grants from the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. We know that under the division of the THA, there are grants available. But on many occasions, when I ask my constituents, are you aware of these grants? They don't know. You know why? Because since this administration came into being, and I'm going to be very frank, since they came into being, some of the services that we were able to do freely from my constituency office. So for example, the grants under settlements, before constituents would come to the office, they would get the forms. We will help them fill them out. I would do a letter endorsing the application and asking for favorable consideration. You know the instructions I get? They don't want no letter from me and they don't want no forms coming from my office. Let them come directly to them. Now, there are some persons who don't know what form to go there and ask for, where to go, and they're saying to me, someone who was elected to represent everybody. No, I ain't elected to represent PNM people alone. Every single individual in Tobago East. They're saying to me they don't want the persons to come with the forms from my office and with the letters from me. Fine, we allow them to find a way. But me and stupid, me and dotish, I know that if Tobago want to play hardball, I have to make sure that what is available in Trinidad gets to my constituency in Tobago East. So, under the housing construction subsidy and the home improvement subsidy under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, we ensure that our constituents are serviced. So let me tell you, today, 31 families received grants for home refurbishment of up to $20,000. And 21 families received grants for home construction of up to $50,000. I felt so proud today as a mother when I saw a young man, I think he was about 24 years old, coming to collect his grant for his home construction. I remember even those who were from the Ministry of Housing, they were really impressed. They say, wait, how old are you? Because you look so young. But that is it. When you work as an MP and you work to empower people, whether they're young or they're old, you give them the opportunity to become the best version of themselves. So that young man can now go out and not just build a home, start to build a home. He could go out and start to build a family and put them in somewhere comfortable. That is what we do for you. That is how we work for you. That is what your central government does for you. And I want to take us down to the road of what would have happened previously. Since 2021, because they say PNM central government don't do nothing for we in Tobago, but I'm just giving you a few ministries. Since 2021, under that same Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, 232 Tobagonians benefited from grants at a total of $7.85 million. I can't tell you how many grants were given out by our settlements division because, quite frankly, they don't tell me, they don't advertise it, they don't inform us. And as the minority councillors say, they don't answer the question when they raise them in Parliament. One thing they can't accuse all your girls doing in Parliament is not answering, because every question they give, a written answer on them. Be it in the House of Representatives, and Senator Hislop could attest, or in the Senate, I just go and give a good account of the ministry and the work they're doing. Let me move to social development and family services. Since 2015, and they're saying PNM central government don't do nothing for Tobago people. Since 2015, we have spent $1.5 billion on senior citizens' pension. If central government didn't like Tobago people, if they didn't want Tobago senior citizens to be healthy and happy, you think they could not find a way to hide away that money and then give us? No, they did the right thing, the honorable thing. We are and would continue to be a responsible government, a ready and responsible government. So we ensure that our people, our senior citizens in Tobago, benefit fully from all that is available under the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. So $1.5 billion going to senior citizens' pensions since 2015. Over $68 million in public assistance grants. And many persons would usually come to the constituency office asking about how they could access these grants, and we give them the advice. We reach out to the welfare boards, we reach out to the welfare officers and guide them through the process. Over $68 million. More than $83 million distributed in disability grants. To those persons who may not be able to work and earn an income, they receive that support from the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services. And $8.5 million going to children in Tobago with disabilities. And that is a policy that would have started under our administration. That disability grant for minors was something that we implemented. Your PNM government with your sister sitting around that cabinet table. Brothers and sisters of Castara, since 2019, and you know food card is a big talk and a big thing in Tobago, right? People always saying, they take away the food card and nobody ain't getting food card. When you get to the bottom of this story, It's not the red card they're taking away now. It's the ones from the THA. Listen, I taken some cuss out there on the road, and when I get down to the nitty and gritty, it's rarely the THA food cards that they're giving to who they want to give. They're no longer serving every single Tobagonian freely and without, any malice. They're picking and choosing. But our central government, we operate by policies and procedures. And because we are responsible, transparent, and accountable government, we have ensured that Tobagonians who qualify for the food card, the food support, they receive it. So since 2019, 10,441 Tobagonians get food card. And they say, central government ain't do nothing for people in Tobago. Or you're telling me to take the story and go get dog. Brothers and sisters, as we look towards the future, as we look towards heralding a new Trinidad and Tobago under new visionary leadership, under my friend, my colleague, the Honorable Stuart Richard Young, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, I want to assure every constituent, every resident of Tobago, every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago listening on, that better days are ahead. Yes, we would face our challenges. Yes, we would face the economic turmoils, but I am confident that we have the skill, the ability, and the negotiating power to safely take us through any economic storms. I'm confident that my Prime Minister would be able to shepherd all of us into a better tomorrow. And Prime Minister Young would have already indicated to us when he spoke in Tobago of some of his plans for us. He spoke passionately about his concern for Tobago's security and our border security. And again, he reaffirmed his commitment to the people of Tobago that when we receive those high-speed interceptors, that 2 would once again be allocated for specific use in Tobago. I remember around 2020, 2021, when the fisher folk were coming to me complaining constantly, it was then my Prime Minister who served as Minister of National Security. And I remember reaching out to him, and Minister of National Security came to Tobago. He walked Charleville with me. He heard the concerns of the fisher folk there because we were getting the issues of piracy and persons saying that our borders were open and illicit activities were happening, illicit trade in terms of guns and drugs and so on. And I remember then when he launched the 2 high-speed interceptors for us. And as time went by, things fell through the crack. But brand new interceptors would be delivered to Trinidad and Tobago, and he gave the commitment that 2 would be specifically designated for us here in Tobago to keep our borders safe and secure. I want to speak of a project that is coming out from the ministry that I sit at, where I guide and where I lead a team of young, competent professionals. I'm really proud I've had the opportunity for almost 10 years to guide those young professionals at the Ministry of Gender and Child Affairs. And from our work, from our collaboration with international agencies, we would have been able to bring meaningful development to Trinidad and Tobago. It is under my stewardship. It is under your MP for Tobago East. It is under our gal, Ayanna Webster Roy, that we got international support to develop our national strategic action plan to end gender-based violence. It is under your Ayanna Webster Roy, your MP, that we got the technical support to establish Trinidad and Tobago's first national action plan on women, peace, and security. And you know what? I feel real good about that. Because I remember in 2023, when I went to Washington, I think it was early 2023, and I went to Washington with Minister Hines. We were going just to listen and to observe and understand from other territories how women, peace, and security was being implemented. And why that strategy was used mainly in areas where there's conflict, where there's war. I took the information, I said, although we're not in a war, we're not in any major civil conflict, we have a battle now with gang and gun violence. And I remember coming back home and sharing information with my team and motivating my team and getting the Canadian government and the UN system to support us. And when we launched our National Action Plan, we became the first country in the Caribbean, the first country in the Caribbean to develop a National Action Plan on women, peace and security. And I'm extremely proud to note that they are using our action plan to model so that CARICOM can use it, other Caribbean islands will be able to use it. And I am both. I am Mama Guy. I'm just simply doing the work so that the people of Trinidad and Tobago, so that my people in Tobago East will be able to live better lives. And one of the key initiatives under the action plan is what we call SPICE TT. It's an integrative approach towards addressing community issues, where we take the public health approach and we marry it with the social intervention approach, and we get this beautiful activity initiative program that will pull together different resources and target communities. And while the action plan will be implemented nationally, we have selected some specific communities of focus. And I remember when we were going around the cabinet table and I was talking to my colleagues and saying to them which communities I would target, because we initially started working in Beetham even without an action plan. So we decided Beetham, Marabella, Enterprise, Maloney. And initially, when my permanent secretary gave me the proposal, there was one community identified in Tobago. And I said to my permanent secretary, I said, I can't take this to cabinet with just one community identified in Tobago. I said, we have seen an increase in gun violence in Tobago. I said, it's not centered on just one constituency. I said, both constituencies must be able to benefit from the pilot. And I said, whatever we learn from the pilot in whatever community is chosen, it would then expand throughout Tobago. So I said to my permanent secretary, you're going with Golden Lane, because I saw the reports coming out from Golden Lane. And Denise, because I saw the reports coming out from Mount St. George, I committed Mount St. George. So in Tobago, we will be having SPICE TT implemented in Golden Lane and Mount St. George. And the ripple effect of that would touch every community in Tobago. Every single community would be touched by the ripple effect of the action plan when it is fully rolled out nationally. I want to talk about the STEP program again, developed by your girl, your humble servant, leading a team of young, competent professionals. When we recognize that persons who are survivors of gender-based violence needed an opportunity to emerge better from the situation, we created the Survivors Transformation and Empowerment Program, where we have a two-pronged approach. We provide funding opportunities for the NGO civil society organizations working in the response to gender-based violence. So if you're a church, if you're a club, if you are a women's group, a police youth club, and you have a focus or a special project that deals specifically with persons who have gone through gender-based violence, you can access up to $50,000. And since we implemented this, I have been talking in length and breadth of Tobago, begging Tobagonian groups to please apply. And you know, earlier today when I spoke at the grant distribution ceremony, I said, you know what, we're too laid back as Tobagonians. We feel that if we sit down and wait home, that the grant will just land in our pockets. If we sit down and wait home, by some miracle, the money will just land in our lap. We have to get up and get. We have to go out and ask questions, and when we ask the questions and we get the forms and we get the support, we have to follow it through. Too many times we give people forms. We tell them, if you're having an issue, call us, we'll come and we'll help you. And then when you go back to them, the questionnaire, and you ask them the question, I love to ask you back the questions. You got the form, yes. You got the number, yes. You call us, no. You fill out the form, no. Why? It's too much work. I just want the grant. As I said to the people today, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. Your ticket is your form. If you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. We have to get up and get Tobago East people. We're too laid back. And if we continue with this laid back attitude, others will come into our communities and benefit from what we should be benefiting from. We should make sure we make full use of all that is available. Back to STEP. So I spoke about the $50,000 available to the groups, etc. For those individuals, those persons who would have been directly impacted by gender-based violence. So you might have been a victim of domestic violence. You might have unfortunately been a victim of sexual assault. Once you come to us, we give you the opportunity to access funding. either for a scholarship to help you to train up to $10,000 or funding to help you to either work on creating a business opportunity, another $10,000. And why is this important? We recognize if we didn't want our survivors to be re-entering into violent relationships, etc., we needed, especially a woman, to be economically empowered. And that is why we developed the STEP program. And I also want to remind all of us, as Tobago East people, that for things to work in our constituency, we have to build each other up. That is why, as your Member of Parliament, I endeavor to bring to you training programs such as the initiative we had with the accounting firm, where we empower you with information to expand your business. That is why we brought to you the Stakeholder Engagement Forum, so that you can meet and to get in touch with different stakeholders to help you to become better versions of yourself. But I want to warn all you. You have a decision to make. You have a decision to make on April 28th. You have a choice to make. And it's only two choices. Because really and truly, it's only two parties could really form the next government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. So your choice is on one hand is UNC, and on the other hand is the PNM. And any right-thinking citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, you know that any day, any time, the right choice is the People's National Movement. We saw the disrespect that our Tobago House of Assembly faced under a UNC, Kamala Persad-led government. We saw where Tobagonians were cut off from accessing services that were important to building lives and livelihood. I remember today at the grand distribution ceremony, Shampa said, because there's going to be a grand distribution for self-help soon, Shampa said to the crowd, she said, while we are giving out grant like nobody's business in Trinidad and Tobago, under the UNC, self-help was cut off from Tobago. So persons in Tobago who had to do repairs on their house, communities in Tobago that needed funding to do self-help to create a roadway, you couldn't get it because that was the way they operated. They punished the people of Tobago. So I'm urging each and every one of you here, whether you're voting age or you're not, because trust me, children have influence. Children have influence. I send this message to the children here so I could go and tell their mommy and their daddy and their uncle and their granny and them. Elections are won on election day. And on election day, the only right choice, the only symbol is the Balize. Brothers and sisters of Tobago East, we can't become complacent. We can't take this for granted. This election is not about if you like Guyana or you like the PNM. This election is about if you like yourself, you like your children, you want a better future for all. Let me win the election. Let me secure the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and let me cuss after now. But let me mind my business first. Let me mind my business, because not this generation alone will look on us poorly if we allow the UNC to get back in. Future generations will come and judge us. We have to ensure that we safeguard Trinidad and Tobago for all. Today, my Prime Minister would have announced something drastic that would have happened. And it takes solid, sober leadership to take us through the economic storm that is to come. I am not convinced, after having observed the leader of the other side for almost 10 years, that she has the capacity to take us through the economic challenges ahead. I have observed my colleague, my honorable Prime Minister, for almost 10 years, and I can tell you he has the character, the grit, the resilience, the education, the knowledge, the passion, and the commitment to safely take us through any economic challenges. Brothers and sisters, again, I humbly ask you for your support. I humbly ask you to continue this journey with me. I humbly ask you to place your vote and your confidence in Ayanna Webster Roy. Real representation, real results. Representation with dignity, representation with integrity, representation with passion, purpose, but most of all, I've always given you honest representation. So once you do that, on the night of April 28th, when you all come up to Roxo by the courtyard, we go jam from there, and then we go jam down to council office, and we will meet up with Snap25 in the west, and we will say together, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall always prevail. I thank you, and may God continue to bless us all.
Yeah!
Brothers and sisters, Castara, Ayana, Webster, Roy is all in Tobago East. The minister gave a very comprehensive account of her stewardship as your member of parliament. And this is what real representation looks like. This is what real results look like, brothers and sisters. So put your hands together once again for our candidate and returning member of parliament, Mrs. Ayana Webster Roy. So now, brothers and sisters, we prepare to hear from a man leading the charge for the PNM in Tobago. He is a strategist, a Tobagonian first and foremost, who continues to champion the cause of this island with fire in his soul and Tobago in his heart. From Republic Bank to the Tobago House of Assembly, from Assistant Secretary to the youngest Chief Secretary in our island's history, this son of the soil has led with purpose and passion. He is the political leader of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement. He is the former Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Brothers and sisters of Castara, stand to your feet, put your hands together as we welcome to address you, the honorable. Brothers and sisters, put your hands together and warmly welcome the Honorable Ansel Dennis.
Thank you very much, Minority Councillor in the Tobago House of Assembly, Mrs. Petal Daniel Benoit. Of course, let me recognize your current Member of Parliament and your next Member of Parliament after April the 20th this year, Mrs. Ayana Webster Roy, Minority Leader in the Tobago House of Assembly, very effective, very diligent, very hardworking Assemblyman Kelvon Morris, and yet another vibrant, intelligent, and fiery youth speaker, Ms. Denisha Manning. PNM people, members, supporters, people from this community of Castara, it is a pleasure to be here this evening for yet another public meeting in this very important general election campaign. And Castara, of course, is a very beautiful community. I tend to think Buku is just a little bit more beautiful, but Castara is one of those fine, distinguished communities here in Tobago, but unfortunately for the last 3 years, it has been neglected. As a matter of fact, I saw a video clip coming out of a TPP meeting in Speyside, I think it was, where the current THA Chief Secretary and leader of the TPP was boasting about only supporting people from Speyside and Charlottesville. And when I saw that, it dawned on me why the young men in Castara, why many of them have been reaching out to me, crying about not being able to access not only the Chief Secretary, but he's also the representative, the assemblyman for this community. And a number of them have been reaching out to me, crying neglect, no job opportunities, can't even get a marriage, and therefore this community has been neglected. But I came here to say to the people of Castara that the journey towards redemption and the journey towards your rescue and the rescue of Tobago has begun. And therefore, I want to start by dealing with a very interesting development that took place over the last 48 hours. Because I had the pleasure of attending a meeting along with the minority leader and the Prime Minister and the 2 Tobago MPs and other tourism stakeholders across Tobago. We met with the leadership of Sandals International, and we got total agreement from all those stakeholders that notwithstanding what transpired in the past, all of us agree that Sandals should come back to the table and talk to us and negotiate with us to ensure that Tobago benefits from a Sandals resort. And therefore, Castara as a unique community in that it's a shining example of what we like to call community tourism. I tend to say that Castara is leading the way where community tourism is concerned. Because of course, across this community and other neighboring communities like Palatovier and Parrot Hall, you have a number of unique tourism offerings, from waterfalls to eco cabins and eco villas and beachside apartments and beachfront apartments. And I am saying that the possibility of a Sandals resort coming here ought to excite the people of Castara. Because while of course you are catering to a unique clientele, that Sandals, as it has done for St. Vincent and the Grenadines most recently, and the CEO of that company was actually boasting at the meeting that when they opened that resort in St. Vincent, there were only 2 American Airlines flights per week coming out of the United States. And within 1 year of the opening of Sandals Resort in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that number moved from 2 flights per week to 9 flights per week. And that is only 1 airline. So when we have the THA talking foolishness and the Secretary of Tourism attempting to blame Caribbean Airlines, flights don't come to destinations just like that. You must have something to attract them. You must be able to negotiate with them, and you must be able to partner with them. And therefore, it is critical for us to begin that change and to begin that revitalization of the tourism sector with a Sandals resort coming to this island. And therefore, I am saying that as reported by the Sandals CEO, and as we have seen in the public space, because when you check out the news coming out of St. Vincent, because the situation from 2 to 9 flights, that is only American Airlines. But you also have Delta coming on stream most recently. You had increased number of flights from British Airways, from Virgin Atlantic, from United Airlines, from JetBlue, and several other airlines. And the reality is that Sandals guests, while Sandals will bring the flights because of its branding and because of its reputation and relationships, only 50% of the guests coming on those planes will go to a Sandals resort. And therefore, if Tobago is in such a situation, it means that while 50% of the plane will go to 5-star, expensive, luxurious, all-inclusive Sandals, the other 50% will come to places like Castara because they want a different, unique experience. And therefore, all of us must be all in for Sandals. And I want to say to you that the tour operators in Tobago, all in. The taxi operators, all in. The dive operators, all in. Well, the entire business chamber, including Diane Haddad and Demi Cruikshank, all of them are all in. The farmers and the people involved in agriculture, they are all in. And even Watson Duke and Farley Augustine, who criticized it in the past, guess what? They are all in now. And of course, the People's National Movement, when it comes to getting our Sandals, we are all in for Tobago's advancement and for Tobago's development and for the prosperity of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But in addition to the Sandals Resort, I want to say to you, the people of Castara, and to you, the people of Tobago, that you also have a Marriott Hotel coming on stream, brought to you by this People's National Movement, PNM Central Government. In addition to that, we are committing to you, the people of Castara, and to the people of Tobago, because we are so heavily dependent on tourism on this island. We are committing that in our next term of office, we will ensure that the marina is constructed. And I want to talk to you a bit about the benefits of a marina. Because of course, Tobago, because of where we are located, we don't experience as many hurricanes as some of our neighbors. I remember the last time when we had a serious warning that I took very seriously, to the extent that I went to the hardware and I bought plyboards and placed them over the glass windows to ensure that during a hurricane, flying objects don't come through the window, break the window, and you know once the window is broken and that wind begins to flow through the house, the next thing that will happen is that your roof will go flying. So I took all the precautionary measures, and guess what? We're still waiting for the hurricane to come. So we are blessed because of our location. And because of that, a marina in Tobago is going to be one of the most heavily subscribed marinas in this part of the world. Because during the peak sailing season, people who are moving by sailing yacht especially will want to ensure that they come down to this side of the Caribbean so that they could make an easy journey across to other places like South America. And of course, during the hurricane season, people will want to ensure that they're expensive vessels, because a yacht is not a cheap thing. Even if it's a sailing yacht, it is not cheap. And people will want to ensure that they protect their assets, and there is no better place for them to come and secure their vessels than a place like Tobago, because we do not experience as many hurricanes. And in addition to that, you have a number of billionaire yacht owners across the world who will sail their yachts here, and some of them, you might want to call them ships, not yachts, and they will sail them here, and then they will fly into Tobago first class or via private jet. And I'm saying that that marina is going to by itself create opportunities for you, the people of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. In addition to that, cruise ship tourism is also a significant part of our offerings. And we are committing that on this occasion, we are going to ensure that right there in Scarborough, next to the existing terminal building, we will build a brand new cruise ship terminal building. And therefore, your cruise passengers, instead of passing through the normal ferry terminal, they will have their own terminal building where you will have duty-free shopping and access to other amenities. And I'm saying to you that by itself will enhance our relationship with other cruise lines such as Royal Caribbean and Princess Cruises and Carnival, etc. And Tobago is again in a very unique position to benefit further from the cruise industry. In addition to that, we are committing to the Scarborough Waterfront project, and we are saying that that project by itself will uplift the capital of Scarborough, because you don't need to spend $2 or $3 billion like that pie in the sky idea that Trevor James had, where they wanted to backfill Scarborough some 200 meters out into the sea. Where is that money going to come from? Pie in the sky. And for them at election time, it was about selling you, the people of Tobago, a dream. It was never about any serious doable developments. And that is why they tried to sell to you that Scarborough development plan, $2 billion. They tried to sell to you an airport in Roxborough. I remember Watson Duke went quite in Dubai to tell investors there he wanted to build an artificial island off Roxborough. We are not about selling dreams. We are about pursuing serious decisions and serious development opportunities for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So of course, all of these projects, because I can tell you, the intent of the PNM government, led by Dr. Keith Rowley since 2015, was to ensure that Tobago, especially our tourism and agriculture sector, was placed on a path of further development. And that is why we had opened just a couple weeks ago the brand new state-of-the-art modern airport terminal building at the N.R. Robinson International Airport. And I can say to you that by the time that facility is opened, it is going to be one of the most beautiful, it is going to be one of the most luxurious airport facilities in the region. And of course, we know it is definitely going to be the best airport in the country. So when you bring all these parts together, the airport that is already there, the sandals to come, the Marriott that is going through the approvals process, the Marriott Hotel to come, the cruise ship terminal building, the Scarborough Waterfront project, and when you put back the PNM into the THA to pursue serious tourism developments, Tobago will be well on its way to greater prosperity and greater development for the people of not only Tobago, but this country. And therefore, we in the PNM, we are advancing to you, the people of Tobago, continued development. And therefore, I want to say as well, the tourism sector is in fact going to be a more critical sector to this country going forward. Because just today, we heard about the unfortunate development where that OFAC license that allowed us to do a deal called the Dragon Gas deal with our neighbors Venezuela. We got the approval under a previous United States government, and I want to say to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, do not be misled by the idiots in the UNC, because the government did not go behind anybody's back. The government did not hide any transaction from anybody. The government took a much-needed serious decision in partnership with the government of the United States, getting all the necessary approvals to protect this country from the possibility of any sanctions. And therefore, once we got that license, it allowed us to pursue that relationship and that dragon gas deal with Venezuela without putting any citizen of this country under any threat. And those are the facts. But of course, due to the change in government in the United States, due to the change in president, a lot has changed. Because again, the people of the United States were in a similar position that we are in now. Because there you had people making promises to cut grocery prices in half, to increase your salary by a significant amount, to fix this and fix that and fix everything and make all your problems disappear. And of course, the people of the United States supported that. And people in this country, and people in Canada, and people in China, and people all over the world are feeling the effects of that, although they did not vote for anybody in the United States. And that is the reality that we are in. Because recently another list came out. The new word of the day is tariffs. A tariff here and a tariff there, 10% tariff there, 50% tariff in China, tariff war between, imagine, Canada and the United States, two countries who were so close and so intertwined, where their borders join each other, two countries known for years of significant collaborations, whether it be trade, whether it be national security, whether it be immigration. All of a sudden in the world today, we are talking about tariff and trade wars between those two countries. And I want to say to the people of this country, we have a similar opposition here, promising you all kinds of things, promising you to decrease food prices, promising you to raise your salaries by 10% and more, promising you grants, baby grants, elders grants, dog grants, puppy grants, cat grants, all kind of grants. And I'm saying to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, look to the United States and see what happened across there. And ensure that you don't make a similar mistake. Be careful that the decision that you make on election day cause you to regret. Because I can tell you, a lot of people in that place called the United States are having regrets today. They are still waiting on the food price to go down. They are still waiting for the grocery bill to be halved immediately after the election. And I'm saying beware of those promises. So of course, as part of the new policy, the license has been withdrawn. And the question has to be asked, what does that mean for Trinidad and Tobago? Of course, you have the idiots, and I don't apologize for calling them idiots because that is what they are. Go to Facebook now, and you will see the UNC and their supporters celebrating that, as if it's only the government will feel the effects of that, as if it's only PNM people will feel the effects of that. And I'm saying anything that jeopardizes the economic progress of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, every single citizen will feel the effects of it. So this has nothing to do with any failure on the part of any government. A previous US government agreed with it. The new one decided that they want to change their mind, and they pulled back the license. So that simply means that we have to look for alternatives. And I want to give the people of Tobago the assurance, and the people of this country by extension, that this time right here, this unpredictable time, this volatile time, this serious time, requires ready and responsible leadership. because this is not a jokey thing. In this period, serious decisions and serious interactions with leaders across CARICOM and leaders across the world will be required to ensure that we find alternative economic opportunities, because we know that we are mainly an oil and gas economy. And as a matter of fact, for those of you who don't know, over the last few years, we are more gas than oil, right? When we had the Petrotrin refinery, we used to produce the oil here, refine it at a loss, and of course, utilize most of it here and export the rest. We closed the refinery. So what we're doing now, we're still producing some oil that we will export at a profit, but the future of Trinidad and Tobago's economy is gas. And while we have some gas reserves, the reality is there is a need for us to improve our gas production. And that is why this government came up with the brilliant idea to partner with the government of Venezuela, as approved by a previous US government, because you have a gas field right close to us. And the idea was to ensure that we take the gas from that gas field, build the pipelines, because we have the infrastructure here, and we exploit that on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So where do we go? And I'm saying the first place we need to go is to the polls on April 28th. Because you see, what transport will not survive that during this period. As a matter of fact, I am guaranteeing you tonight, this is a guarantee, you could take it to the bank and get a loan on it. If you make the mistake and elect Kamla Prasad Bisesa to office, within the first 2 years, this country will make its way to the IMF. And for those of you who don't know what the IMF is, it is called the International Monetary Fund. It is the bank of last resort. And when I say last resort, last resort for countries who find themselves in financial trouble, where they are in a position to default on their debt. So they have to go to the IMF. And for those of you who were around, I was around at 1 year old in 1988 when this country had to embark upon an IMF program. And I'm sure all of you who were old enough at the time will remember the difficulty that we had to face. Because when you go to the IMF, there are no if, buts, or maybes. There is something called conditionalities. Meaning, if you want the IMF's bailout, if you want the IMF's rescue package, there are some things that you have to do where your economy is concerned. And if you want a clue of some of the things that we will be required to do, simply check out the world reports of the IMF where Trinidad and Tobago is concerned. And you will realize, for all along they have been saying to Trinidad and Tobago, number one, your welfare bill is too high. You need to cut it. And welfare includes your old age pension. It includes your social welfare grants to disabled persons, to other persons who need to be assisted from social welfare. The IMF has been saying to us, you need to cut that. The other thing the IMF has been saying to us is that you have too many public servants employed in this country. And I want to say to you that even in that situation, we went through a pandemic, one of the most difficult periods in this country, and not one public servant lost their jobs or got paid late. But bet your bottom dollar, if we end up in a situation of having to go to the IMF, we will be required to cut at least 5,000 jobs in the public service. That is the reality. Ask Barbados, they had to cut, I think, about 3,000. Barbados is currently under an IMF program. They had to cut, perhaps, I'm not sure, but I think they had to cut nurses and even some police officers. And you have to ask yourself the question, is that the kind of future you want for Trinidad and Tobago? And, of course, we have to look in the circumstances at other opportunities. And who do you want to negotiate those opportunities for you? Who do you want to be in the room with energy companies, with cruise lines, with airlines, with other investors to seek out opportunities on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago? Who do you want in the room? A drunken lady in her nightgown? Or an astute, competent Prime Minister in short young? Ask yourself the question. And when I say a drunken lady in a nightgown, I am not making up tales. It actually happened in the period 2010 to 2015. Go and ask Jack Warner. So we have to vote in accordance with the future we want. Because not only Trinidad and Tobago is under threat, the world is under threat. And in this period, you require ready, responsible, stable, competent, and red leadership. And this is also where our tourism sector come in. Because we have been talking diversification for the longest while. And the policy of this PNM government is that if you're going to diversify, and if you're going to diversify where tourism is concerned, then the first place you should be looking at is Tobago, because we see Tobago as the tourism capital of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why we conceptualize the airport, the marina, the sandals, the Marriott, and all those other tourism projects that we discussed before. Serious leadership is required for serious times. So, the first thing we need to do to protect our future is vote. The second thing we need to do is to ensure that we remain hopeful. Because I can say to you that Trinidad and Tobago, we have experienced tough times before. And we have demonstrated as a people that we are in fact tough people. We went through that difficult period of 1988 and we survived. When Dr. Rowley came in, oil prices dropped to less than $1 per barrel and we survived. You remember that period of, I think it was around 2015, where the oil prices dropped very low. What else call it? Dog price. And we made the adjustments. And for all those people in this country talking about hardship and talking about gas raise, I am saying to you that if we did not make those necessary adjustments, by now crapoded smoke we pipe. Because there are examples of many countries who did not make adjustments to their realities. Because when you are running a country, you have revenues coming in. And in Trinidad and Tobago, most of our revenues come from the energy sector, oil and gas. And if the prices of oil and gas decrease, and I will say due to the current circumstances, it will become even more volatile. And if your revenues are decreasing, then the responsible thing to do is to adjust your expenditure. And in making those expenditure adjustments, of course, there will be some repercussions for people in the country. But we have to ask ourselves the question, do we want to make our own adjustments, or do we want the IMF to enforce those adjustments on us? We have a choice. And therefore, in the period 2015 to now, what we have had is stable, responsible leadership where serious decisions were made in the best interest of the country. It wasn't about goodies. It wasn't about pleasing certain sectors of the population. It was about doing what is best for the whole country. And therefore, we are all in for this period. We are all in to ensure that Trinidad and Tobago continues to prosper and continues to remain stable even in this difficult period. In closing, while we are all in, there are others who are selling out. Because I am sure most, if not all of you, heard that recording. And if you didn't hear it, before I leave tonight, ask me for it. I will send it to you.
Whereby we can call your name.
I am sure you heard that recording.
As we are about to
a 9-minute clip
the projections
of the same chief secretary,
before, as it's been
the same assemblyman for Paratuvia Lansame Speyside,
and to the development
who said
of our people,
he never met with the UNC,
grace to those
who said
individuals
they have no dealings with the UNC,
deliver, help them
who
to
said
focus
they
in
will
their
stand
delivery.
alone,
I pray God
win alone,
listeners,
and lose alone.
presence, those
That
online,
same chief
listen
secretary
and accept and
was caught on
understand
tape,
what have been taking
a 9-minute
place
tape
the last 10 years.
in a
Your
meeting
presence
with the
continue
leader
to be
of
with us.
the
And
UNC.
even as we continue to be blessed by your presence
And
granting us travel,
I have no
mercies,
problems
Father, we give thee praise.
if you want to join the UNC.
Glorify your name.
Ashworth
And
Jack
whatever
did it
may be
in
said and done here
2010.
tonight, Father,
He win one
at the
election,
end thereof,
he lose the
someone
next one
would
badly.
know that
That is
we
a
have
choice.
wonderful Savior.
Political parties are free to join with whoever they want. That is a
In
choice.
Jesus' name we thank
So I don't have a problem with them joining the UNC. But what are you lying for? Why are you hiding
you,
under the
Mr.
table your
McQueen.
relationship with Kamla
I
Prasad
feel like we
Bisesa?
need to heat
And
up
I'm
this
saying
place
worse
in
than the
Castara
lying is the
this
selling out.
evening. Mr.
Because
DJ,
the first
play some
part of that
music,
recording
please.
concerns me greatly. Because there you had the chief secretary reporting, snitching, and ratting out on a fellow Tobagonian businessman about his aspirations to be the biggest black contractor in the country. What's wrong with that? Every black man should have that aspiration to be the best black businessman.
Castara, the People's National
And there he was
Movement is
reporting
here.
that to Mrs. Kamla Prasad
Pleasant good
Bisesa.
evening to one
And I'm saying to you
all.
that following that report, there was a plan. And the plan has been
Humility,
executed,
delight, and
unfortunately.
pleasure
because
that
over the last
I
3
stand
years,
here before you
we
as
have
your
seen the
master of
replacement of
ceremonies.
everything Tobago
before we get
in the
into
construction sector.
This
Warners,
afternoon,
gone.
this evening's program,
Parks, gone.
permit me to recognize
Car
the
engineering,
persons
gone.
at our head table.
Damari,
And
gone.
first I want to
Who else?
recognize the political
All of them,
leader of
gone.
the People's National
Not one
Movement,
project.
Tobago Council,
Bank running them down for their money.
former Chief
THA
Secretary
owing since
Tobago House of
2021
Assembly,
and
the Honorable
2020,
Ansel
not
Dennis.
$1
Put
to
your
be
hands
paid.
together.
And I'm saying to you, the
I
people of
also
Tobago,
want to recognize
that
this
action was
evening
deliberate
our
as an
candidate
intention
for Tobago
to destroy
East
Tobago's
and Minister in the
contractors
Office of the
who
Prime
were built
Minister
up
with
by the
responsibility
PNM
for
over
Tobago
many, many
Gender
years.
and Child Affairs,
And
who
I want to
will
say
be
to you
returning as our member
that
of
I am
Parliament come
proud
April
of the PNM's track
28th.
record where that is concerned.
Ayana
Because
Webster
prior to
Roy.
us coming in office,
I also want to
all the
recognize
roads
our
in
midst
Tobago,
our
you know who used to
minority
pave them?
leader and
Contractors from
representative
Trinidad.
for Darrell Spring
And
Wim.
over the years,
One
we
is
changed
enough.
that situation.
Assemblyman Kelvon
Some
Morris.
contractors started small and turned big.
I also want to
And we had
recognize
large
in our
contractors.
midst our youth
We developed
speaker,
medium
the
contractors.
vibrant, the
And we had
beautiful
smaller programs that
Kenisha
benefited
Manick.
smaller contractors. We had a program called the Agricultural Access Roads
Executive
Program,
members of the PNM
where every
Tobago
year we will
Council,
build
executive
roads to
members
ensure
of
that
East
our
and West
farmers could access their lands.
brothers
And all those
sisters of
projects
the
would be done by the
People's
smaller
National
Tobago
Movement,
contractors.
Castara,
Since these
Tobago,
crooks and
Trinidad
sellouts
and
came into
Tobago,
office,
Pleasant,
there has
good
not
evening
been
to
one
and
agricultural
all.
access roads program.
Good evening, Castara.
And
We
some
are
of you might
here
tell me
in the heart
that you're
of
seeing
one of
roads being built
Tobago's
in Belmont
most
Road and other
breathtaking,
areas.
proud,
Those are the
and
same
powerful
projects that were
communities.
awarded when I
A
was
village
Chief
rich
Secretary
in
of the
heritage,
Tobago House of
culture,
Assembly.
and resilience.
And these
So,
wicked
brothers and
idiots,
sisters, the PNM
when they
is
came into
here
office, they
to
stopped
continue
every
its
single
gospel, to
project
continue sharing
and had the
facts,
contractors
and
waiting
bringing
for
truth
2
to
years
you, the people.
before they could restart
So
the
to
projects,
kick us off
talking
this
about
evening,
audit.
I want
Stop
to
the projects for
bring
2
to you
years to audit,
a
and no
powerful
audit was ever
speaker,
done.
And we know from this
And tell me this,
People's
they are so
National
wicked,
Movement
damn
platform,
wicked.
Our youth speakers has been blazing the trail and has
Because
been
you are a small contractor.
So brothers and sisters
The
of
project
Castara,
is
put
valued
your
at about
hands together
300, 400,000,
and welcome
some of
the
them up to
youth speaker for
$700,000.
this evening.
When you
The
stop
young,
the project for 2
brilliant,
years
the vibrant
and you call back the
Miss
contractor to
Denisha
start back,
Manning, we
what kind
can
of
do better
profit you
than
could make
that.
after 3 years?
Put your hands together and warmly
So all the
welcome
contractors
Miss
bust
Denisha Manning.
on the project could barely finish the project. And as for the large contractors, $70 million road down in,
family, good
down in
evening.
Friendship to go to the airport,
PNM
contractor
family,
from
good
Trinidad.
evening. Oh, they're a little too quiet for me. PNM
Road in
family,
Dutch
good
Fort,
evening.
$19 million. Same contractor from Trinidad.
Allow me to recognize
Road in Argyle, Lame Road, contractor from
political
Trinidad.
leader of the PNM Tobago
Pigeon Point,
Council, Mr.
roofing
Andrew
contractor
Dennis.
from Trinidad. Even the
Our
school
young,
repair program
vibrant, dedicated Tobago East candidate,
that was
Mrs.
totally
Ayana
Tobago
Webster-Roy.
under the PNM has now been sold
Our
out partly
one is
to
enough
contractors
fighter,
from Trinidad.
our minority
And I'm saying
leader,
to you,
Mr.
when you
Kelvin
listen to that
Morris.
recording, you will hear plates
to my
knocking
beautiful
and knife and
PNM
fork. I don't know if they
family.
was eating steak,
Good evening.
ham, lamb, or jam, or roti.
Tonight, I stand here with purpose.
But
I
that is
stand
where
here
the
with a
sellout
mission. So
of
let it
Tobago
be
took
known
place.
To our young
So I'm
people
saying to you,
that
the
we
people
have
of Tobago,
we have
we
it on our
have
side.
to fix that.
We have
And in
strength
fixing
on our
that,
side.
we must
have
fix them.
resilience, representation, integrity, and great leadership on our side. Brothers and
So the
sisters,
journey towards
let me
fixing
draw
them
an
begins
analogy for a
now.
second.
Because I'm
Have
saying
never
to you,
seen a
this
duck
is an
flying
opportunity
across the pond?
in voting Ayana Webster-Roy in the
Such
east
elegance,
and Shamfa
such
Kojo Lewis
calmness.
in the west.
But what
This
we don't
is
see
an opportunity
hard work that
to
it
demonstrate
takes
your disgust
the
with the
amount of
agenda of Farley
time it
Augustine
takes
and his
to
crooked
swim through the
team
water,
in the
the
selling
amount
out
of
of
stamina
Tobago
it takes
and the people
to
of
get from
Tobago.
one side
And I'm
to
saying
the
to you,
other.
go out in your
Ladies and
numbers.
gentlemen, we
Go
have
to the
been
polls on
witnessing
April the
strength,
28th. They will come with
resilience, and hard
bribe.
work
They
for
will
the past
outspend the
9
PNM
years
because
by
we
our
in the PNM
Tobago
will not
East
have near the
candidate,
amount of
Mrs.
money they
Ayana
have. But
Webster-Roy.
understand that people power is more
She looks
powerful
cool,
than money
calm,
power.
and
And once you understand that
When she starts
and you go out to the polls on election day and you go out in your
Ladies
numbers
and
and you
gentlemen,
vote
give
for the
a hand.
Balizé,
Put your
we will
hands
all be
together
able
for
to say
Tobago
that
East
we have
candidate.
saved Tobago and we have saved this country, and great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
I know you're proud in this moment. You are the reason. Higher heights is our limit. No
PNM family, brothers and sisters.
I began my development journey. I began my development journey as a student at the Mountain George Early Childhood Center. Then I went to
People of Castara,
then I went
put your
to
hands
Prestige
together once
Bishop
again
High School.
for the
Then I
political
went straight
leader
to
of the
this-
Tobago Council of the People's
and I
National
haven't paid
Movement.
a pretty penny
Tonight,
from them.
we heard the truth. Tonight, we felt
Brothers
the
and
energy
sisters,
and we
imagine
saw the future. It is bold, it is bright, and it is red. We are red. Castara, are you red? Castara, are you ready? Castara, are you responsible? So on April 28th, who are you voting for? I urge you, brothers and sisters, Listen to the voice of the babes. Listen to the voice of the youth. On April 28th, we are voting for a party with a plan. We are voting for a team with a track record. We are voting for the People's National Movement. We are voting Ayanna Webster Roy in Tobago East. We are voting Shamfa Kajol Lewis in Tobago West. We are voting Stuart Richard Young in Port of Spain North, St. Anne's East. And we are voting every other PNM candidate, brothers and sisters. And on the evening of the 28th of April, once we have done that, we will all sing in one loud, great accord. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. Brothers and sisters, you have been a wonderful audience. Please get home safely, and may God bless us all. Have a good evening, everybody.
PNM coming.